studio. So these are two authors, artists in their own right, entrepreneurs in their own right, who are doing some amazing work in their respective footprints. But you guys got a story to tell too.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
it's
yes.
it's. I mean, and so let's deal with this. So Latoya, um, the hand that I was dealt.
The hand I was
That's
dealt.
the book
That's the
that you're
title of the book.
dropping,
Yes.
right? But without giving them the secret sauce,
Okay. Okay.
what was the hand that was dealt for you that has gotten you to this point?
Well, the hand that I was dealt, I'm talking about me personally as
Mm-hmm.
the author, just losing my mom at a young age
Mm.
and just really trying to find my way right after college, not really knowing what lane to go into. Like,
Okay.
okay, I need to get a job. I need to pay back my student loans. I have a house that I own. Just a lot of things, just trying to figure out things and also trying to figure out relationships with my family because we all were going through something at this time.
Wow.
So I just
Wow.
felt like the book was already started, but
Mm-hmm.
that gave me like the push. Like,
Okay.
okay, I see why God chose me for this book.
I see why God chose me. So like what's that moment like when you wake up? Was that one of them 3 in the morning? Like I just popped up and I pull out the notepad. And I'm like, I get it, God. Like what happened?
No,
What was
okay,
that
so I'm gonna
moment?
walk you through this. I started this book when I was in college. I
Really?
started this book in college just off of I used to have an addiction to like watching social media, like
Mm-hmm.
media takeout and all these things. And you always heard this term trophy wife for athletes.
Right.
And I said, a trophy wife? Like, what is a trophy wife? So are we just saying a trophy wife should look a certain way? Or should a trophy wife be a person who cherishes her husband? She's there for her husband. She's
Mm-hmm.
also, helping the marriage. So that term stuck in my head. So I started to write it actually for a class. My professor, he just didn't accept it. He's like, no, I'm gonna give you another chance to go back. But I kept
I'm gonna
this
give you
story.
another chance.
So basically, yeah. But
Wow.
you know what? I'm happy he did that because
Okay.
if he wouldn't have, I would have stopped, and it would have never been the book that we see today. So then I just
Wow.
started to just write more, and then I started to develop these characters based off myself, my friends, my
Mm-hmm.
family, and I'm like, I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah.
But I was afraid to complete the book because I didn't really know how the book should end. And then I was afraid to put the story out because you don't hear a lot of people talk about plus size dark skinned women.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But then I let my mom read some of it. And she was like, this is a good story. You got to get it out and
Right.
everything. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
But not thinking too much of it. So fast forward, when I lost my mom, that kind of hit home for me. And it was like, I have to do this.
I gotta do this.
This is something that I have to do. So
Wow.
after like a year after losing my mom, I
Yeah.
picked up where I left off, opened my laptop, and I was like, okay, we gonna do this. And I felt like at this
Wow.
time now Instagram is like really popular,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see a lot of girls just trying to chase after this look.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe they're trying to get fake butts and they're trying to get chest, and a lot of people are dying from these things,
Yeah.
but they're
Yeah.
doing it because people tell them that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
A guy's gonna say, "Hey, I'm gonna give you all these likes. This is what we're calling beautiful now."
Right.
We're not looking at like how intelligent a woman is. We just throw it out the window. The educated women, they're no longer looked at as being
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. It's like, oh, I want to see what you look like.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like right now was the right time to push this book out, just for like the younger generation to say, hey, you're beautiful. Don't let nobody tell you you're not beautiful, especially these girls.
But that's really important. So I'm about to date myself on this one. So when I was in college, so the end of my high school job, I still had an Ericsson bag phone. That was the company phone. You don't even know. She like, I
I'm
don't
like,
even know
how
what
was
he said.
that?
But antenna was sticking
I'm
out the
dating
junk. So
myself,
she's
huh?
like, I saw Instagram and said, I'm like, we were on like AOL Black Voices chat rooms. Like we didn't even know who it was on the other side. It could have been the FBI. We don't know. We were just having
The party
conversations, right?
line.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's great that social media is also picking up, right? And so we get a chance to see what's happening in people's worlds. But then we also realize it's a lot of fake stuff. It ain't just fake profiles, it's fake living, period, by real folk, right?
Right.
But every now and then you get a chance to find this glimmer of hope of some people who are doing some real things, who are real through and through, and having some real
Yeah.
life experiences. You're one of those. And you talked about the family being the boost, and losing a mother. Ambition, you've gone through that too, man. Like family issues, the whole nine. That has kind of spurred your ministry of sorts and your artistry and really turned this thing up. Talk about that moment. What was going on in your world that got you to this point where you said, I know this is what I'm called to do?
I think so I'm fresh out of at this time I'm 10 years old and I come from nice town. Philadelphia, right, North Philadelphia, right. So, being a foster child is really very, very rarely done. I have like almost an interstate adoption. So I'm taken from North Philly and I'm put into Sicklerville, New Jersey. So
Wow.
over one night, I'm literally taken from poverty to middle class.
Yeah.
And so I get into middle class. The people in this area of Sicklerville are not necessarily used to people coming from the inner city.
Right.
And so you being poor is not necessarily a good thing.
Right.
So, over here it's like, my hood is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
You don't want that prop. But over
Right.
there, you being hood and impoverished is a bad thing.
No, it's a neighborhood.
Right.
Right.
Oh, you're from Philly. You're
Yeah,
poor.
it's
And
our
so-
community.
Right.
Right.
So I'm being bullied and I'm being talked about. But then when I come back to Philly, people in Philly are saying, you're a Jersey boy. You a suburban now. You live with these people. And so on both sides of the bridge, I'm going through what you say, a bullying of location now.
Yeah.
Who do I belong to? Am I really a Philadelphian? Or am I a Jerseyan? Because Jersey people are saying no, and Philly, so it's rough. And all of this is compiling on me of really going through self-identity problems too, right?
Yeah.
So it comes all together in my mind. What do I do? And just the explosion of thoughts, explosion of me writing out all this pain. And then that's when I knew, right then and there, that I'm called to talk about my life. Because my mom was big on not being violent. You couldn't fight in my mom's house.
Right.
And foster care. So I was scared to death to go back to Philly, no disrespect at the time.
I got you.
Because at that time, Philly was horrifying. Every time I crossed the bridge, it would really affect me. And so I said, okay, then if I can't fight, if I can't do this, what do I do? So I just start writing stories,
Wow.
pain stories. And so that's kind of how it turned into rapping. And then as I got older, it turned into poetry. So, yeah.
And it's really deep because it's like, look, man, 5500 block of Germantown all the way to 4300. I know that. I grew up in that. Like, just because I left doesn't mean I don't know. And we kind of get into that that locale war, that location war. That doesn't really mean much of anything. If anything, I'm celebrating the fact that you got out and are bringing something back to the mix. That's what it should be.
Right.
But a lot of children are dealing with exactly what you experience. And we don't talk about it because we don't even know how to articulate it. I just know this side hates me when I go to this crib, and that crib, and
It's almost like I was telling a young guy from Germantown, I was like, what's the difference between you and somebody who lives in Chestnut Hill?
right.
Literally.
Right.
Literally down the street, Germantown Ave. That's two different parts.
So
But
funny, right? So funny.
and
So
so-
5500 is like the beginning of Nicetown. The 6000s is like Brickyard. You know what I mean? The 70,000, but basically like 6800 up to like 72 is like Mount Airy. And then
we dividing ourselves.
by the time you hit Bread and Beck's, you're supposed to have your pinky out, getting
Right.
ice cream. Like, come on. It's one street. It's one city, one culture, right? But the pen, you guys both use the pen
Yes.
as a tool, not only to combat what you were dealing with, but almost as a therapeutic vehicle as well. But then God said, look, you guys are operating in the space that I need you to operate in, and because of that, I'm going to bless you. And so, so Latoya, talk about the book. I mean, you put out this book, but people know you for your pen. They know you for your writings and your work, and you've been able to travel and have success through that. What does that feel like? I mean, because you literally took pain and turned it into purpose.
What does this? Are you asking what does this book feel like to me?
What does it feel like? Yeah.
Just feel accomplished. I just feel accomplished. Like I finally did something that I told myself I was going to do.
Okay.
Because sometimes we get distracted with life, and I told myself I'm not going to allow life to distract me because we make a lot of excuses for why we don't chase our dreams. We say, "Oh, we got to get up and go to work," or we got to. It's a lot of excuses. So this book is just the proof in the pudding that you can't always allow life to just get in front of you and say, "I'm gonna stop you right here." You know. That's
really deep because there are a lot of grown folk. I'm just going to put grown folk on there. I'm using air quotes for those who can't see the video. who go to work every day to a place that they were never designed to live in, be in, stay in. Their talents are being wasted.
But can I say this? I say
Go ahead.
a lot of people get caught up with society belief of them. Like I teach first grade, so in first grade, first thing I ask my kids on the first day of school, what do you want to be when you get older? You hear a lot of kids say dancers, a doctor. You have to say a lot of these things. Might hear singer, or whatever, entrepreneur, or whatever. But by the time these kids are in 10th and 11th grade, we're told you're not gonna be a basketball player. You better go to school, get something to do something else,
Yeah,
or you better get a city job. So people already tell you
Better
what you
get
should
these
do.
benefits.
So you
Yeah,
no
right.
longer
Get those
exactly.
points.
Yeah.
So that's what we're told. So you're no longer believing like, well, can I really do it? Because I was
Right.
that child when I was younger. My father's here, my sister's here. They can tell you I always wanted to be an actress, and I went to acting classes. I did a lot of things, but by the time I was in 8th grade, hanging with my friends. Then I'm, hanging with neighborhood kids. And I went to one audition for Disney, and it was like, "You're not what we're looking for." That turned me around because people were just telling me like, "You're not really gonna be
Yeah.
an actress."
Yeah.
So then you hear teachers saying, "No, you're gonna go to college, and then you're gonna do this." So I think that's what happens. You're told these things as you're younger and you're growing up. You say, "I'm just give me a job," because the way we look at it, a job is you're doing good as long as you have a job.
So you know what? There's a dope part to social media. So my mother is all she's of the mindset like social media is like full of the devil. Like don't yeah, like the devil literally created like Instagram and then sent it up to earth, right? That's her twist, right? So she doesn't. She's like I don't even want nothing to do with it if I don't have to. And I understand it because my generation was the generation they formed it off of, right? So AOL became, we did all of that. So the Galaxies and the iPhones, we had the Motorola StarTAC flip phones and the Sidekick
The
pages.
sidekick that was husky. You had to flip
it was
it.
husky.
Yeah.
It was a whole belt
Yep.
buckle
And
in
then keep
itself.
falling down.
Exactly.
good.
So we're watching what is really the manifestation of the test of our culture, of our population, right? But inside all of that, you guys are finding solutions inside of this ever changing world, and a lot of corporate people are afraid of that, like which leads them to go back to the 9 to 5 every Monday.
Right.
They're like, I don't even understand Instagram. I don't even. How are you guys making money off of YouTube?
Yeah.
You know, like
they don't understand
it's.
concept,
I
yeah.
have no idea. And so I think this is for not just the corporate folk who are sitting at their desk right now, frustrated that they have this book in their phone, but not thinking about being an author. What's the step mentally that it takes to say, you know what, I'm going to step out on faith. I'm going to take that first step. I can't even see where it should be, but I'm gonna take the step and know that the creator is going to put my footing in a proper space for me to take the following step, and because that's literally what both of you did.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think for me, I listen to Gary Vee.
Okay.
I listen to TD Jakes is like my amazing mentor. He doesn't know it yet.
Yeah.
But Gary Vee was talking about something real powerful, which is self-awareness. We all have these things that we're automatically good at. We don't even have to try.
right.
And so my thing was, I knew I was good at talking, right? So, but how do I market that? How do I? And so my thing was, I think the most important people to say it in the sum total is, if somebody says that you're not an actress or somebody says that you're not this, it's time for you to create it, right? Disney say, no, you're not going to be. Now it's time to create
Yeah.
my own play, my own video blog, or whatever it has to be. You have to create that. When I first came out, I mean, poets, what I'm doing, they was trying to say that what I'm doing is not poetry. It's something else. They don't know what it is.
Right.
But that didn't stop me from going to poet venues or still doing what I believe is my own creation. You see my poets online, they're like movies. It's like a movie.